Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've drawn the blank, which is great, but I've also got the Q and the V, which is less so. So I can play chi or chin. Does the N help this rack? The N helps the V. L and N together not so great. I think I will play the N. Chin for 24. Okay, slightly more balanced. V and P not great together. Is there a bingo here? There would be Val Pro 8 as a 9. But what about a 7 or an 8? Let me have a quick squiz on opponent's time. My time. Just 12 points for opponent, that's good. I'm not optimistic about this. So, vowels look a little more likely than consonants to yield a bingo, but not seeing anything there. Still nothing. Live trap. Our opponent has blocked it. What a shame. That would be live trap through an I or an R. Okay, Pone has blocked that. Okay, so not seeing a bingo with this rack. And no I for playing underneath chin. So opponent's move quite blocky, although it was good that he only scored 12 points. Not many options available for me, and I'd like to get rid of the V and the P. And I don't think that's going to be possible. I can only play down from the I. So I'd really like to play onto this P. I think what I'm going to do is plap. It doesn't give much away. I can't play off the V and the P, and I'm not seeing anything better than this. Well, third rack with a blank, still no bingo in sight. And V, G and K not great tiles. Fortunately, opponent has not zoomed off into the distance. And no I for going underneath the Q. Quite difficult to play this rack with the board as it stands, so hopefully opponent will provide something. Plap only takes an S. Wow, great bingo for opponent, and there goes the first blank. So, what am I going to do? I've got geek on my rack, but nowhere for that, and I'd like to keep the board open now that I'm behind. Gosh, no vowel for going in front of P, so I don't really have anything around plap. I'm reluctant to block the floaters in informed. Gosh, so close to Keftades. So, wow, I have evoke, and it just misses both double word squares. What about playing Kef? 20 points. It's not blocking the board. And I am taking out the double-double lane, which I think is good. I don't feel great about this, but I can't see any way of playing off 2 of V, G and K. Well, what about geek down here? I am blocking useful floaters, however. There are still floaters available. It's early in the game. I'm creating a column 11 bingo lane for bingos ending S or Y. And this rack cleave is better for having one of those 3 tiles rather than 2. I'm going with this. Well, I still think I'm not in bingo territory. Usually when you've had the blank this long, you have missed a bingo. So what to do here? No I or N for ing words. And again, really clunky, very hard to play off V, G and H. Possible with a U for Vug. Opponent's done well, he's closing the board down. And again, no vowels for going in front of P, so it's hard for me to develop the top of the board. I could play V and P, but the score is pretty lame and I trail by 70. No vowel for going around the K. What about through D, O? Gosh, so often you miss having an E on your rack and you think if only I had an E I would have a bingo, but it's the opposite in this game. No F for veg. That would certainly sort the rack out. Well, what about playing Vega? A low score, but it sorts the rack out and it creates a new bingo lane and opens up the top of the board. I am going with this. Yes, I was just hesitating in case Vegeta was good, but it's not. So, surely I'm bingoing now. I have hotties in column 11. Opponent must be distracted by Vega. Do I have an alternative bingo? And I would have thought I would have one through this E. Foley I-ite is a 9. But what about this E? And is opponent going to block hotties? And is he going to block it with a bingo? That would be brutal. And do I have a double-double in row K with D-O? Don't think so. And I think it would be fairly low probability, so outside the words I've studied, but there's no obvious suffix or prefix to consider. Let me come back to this E. So my rack plus an E. So athetoid with an A. This rack plus an E. Goethite. Okay, great. Wow, fantastic. And just in time, since opponent has blocked hotties, I do have goethite. Do I have anything better? That's doubled. What about column 15? Bingo ending in L? Not likely with this rack. So, let me get this down. Goethite for 70. Pretty good. I draw an S and a balanced rack. I don't have a bingo this turn, too many high-scoring tiles, but I should be able to sort them out and leave a decent rack leave. Now, am I too quick to discount the possibility of a bingo? Once you do, you tend not to look for them. So it's easy enough just to consider the available floaters, I, T and E. Not seeing anything there. L, I have the AL ending. A, R, and O, no. Anything else to consider? D, O, not seeing anything there. So, how to sort the rack out? If I could play off B and Y, I would have a really good looking 5-letter rack leave. And there is an opportunity. I can play by in row E and jip, and by takes a front A, which I have. 5 to come, however. I don't have anything to go in front of. Great, opponent had V and Y. Less great that he managed to get 30 points. So I'm thinking about by 21 points, and I do like it. It's hard for opponent to make use of this spot without creating a new lane. I guess if he just plays a word ending in A, I'm restricted to G and B. But there are bingo lanes on the right of the board as well. But is this the best spot for by? Is there a better one? No, I think this is fine. Well, I could play buy and buy, but I like the idea of opening the board up. I do trail. I'm going with this. Okay, so I have Karates, I think, which plays in column 4. Is that good? Have I made it up? I think it's good. So, do I have an alternative bingo? Well, I don't need to look for an alternative bingo if this is good. So, Karates for 78. Just wondering if I have a bingo ending in... Let me just put this back. Do I have a bingo ending in L? No, and I think that's the only better spot to consider. No, I have 2 spots for Karates. This is the better one, because 2 higher up places an S, which is better for opponent for scoring with this triple word square. So Karates for 78. Phew, it is good. And a pretty good pickup, and I lead by 30 points. I won the game, the previous video, and realised at the end of the game that the game wasn't rated. I must have at some point unclicked the rated box. So most galling since I won, and so that victory did not count towards my rating, but this game certainly is rated. But am I going to win? It's a tight game, opponent's on turn and only trails by 30. There are still bingo lanes on this board, but it's starting to tighten up. Now, I have the X. Are there any fantastic X spots? No, there aren't. Wow, fantastic bingo by opponent, 73 points. And he did have alternative spots for those. And he hasn't provided an amazing X spot. Or has he? No, he hasn't. Now, I trail by 30 or 40, 26 tiles to come. I'd like to keep the board open. There's a monstrous Z spot next to OS. And I don't have an O for Gox. So I'd like to play off X and U. Then the rack leave of Inga is pretty good, and there are 7-letter lanes in columns 12 and 14. So, is there somewhere for just XU? Cruel if there isn't. Well, I'm not sure there is. Does XU really not go anywhere? Regardless of score. Yes, it does. I can play do, or do's, however you pronounce it, for 12, and that leaves alone the bingo lanes in columns 12 and 14. So, do I have a bingo? Not sure about Twinger, but that doesn't play. Opponent does have the Z. Brutal. 22 tiles in the bag, so I think there was about a 1 in 4 chance that he had it. But that really sets back my cause. So, do I have a bingo with this rack? Don't think I do. Unless Twinger is good, which doesn't play. Except it does. But I don't think it's good. And it's not. Okay, so is there an anagram of that? I don't think so. What about a play with this rack plus an A or an L? Unlikely. This really feels like an ING rack. W is the problem. Woof is good, but I can't get that to play twice. Still 22 tiles left. 2 Ds and, well, A does not go in front of those, only D does, but there are 2 of them out there. Well, I may draw both of them. I need good fortune to do well in this game. I'm really tempted to play Waff 17 points because this is a good rack leave and there are bingo lanes in columns 2, 12 and 14 for 7-letter bingos. And this is a pretty good 6-letter set. I am going with Waff. And I draw an F, which is not a great tile. Opponent plays Tut, taking out that danger for Tui rather, for 7 points, which is good. He only leads by 80. What a shame that this is not a bingo rack, and I don't think it is. And I don't think there are any floaters for me to consider. It's just, well, there's the L and the A and the O. Vowels not particularly useful in last place unless they're an E. This rack does not go well with an L. Now, opponent's taken out column 1 for D words. Maybe I should create... well, if I play frat, I'm really taking out column 2. I do need to play off the F. But can I do so in a way that creates a new lane? Tricky. Not sure I can. I'd like to leave these 7-letter lanes alone. The V's really hamper development, as does the C. So F goes next to the Y. Am I sure there isn't a 7 here? I don't think there is. Still 4 E's to come. 8 minutes on my clock. Really tricky. So I'm going to abandon ing words. I can play frig for 34, and I think I need to get that sort of score. I'm 80 behind, so this keeps me close enough to opponent that a bingo may make a difference. This is an okay 3-letter set, slightly vulnerable to drawing duplicates, but the remaining tiles are pretty much all bingo apart from the J and the U. I'm going with this. So I have end note, that plays in column 14, and column 2, I am bingoing. Fantastic. And I think tenand might be good as well, but that doesn't play. But I have end note in column 14. Well, that's going to provide access to a triple word square. So, would it be better in column 2? Not really, because then a J could go in front of eat. So that has played off. Now, opponent has blocked my option in column 14. Has he created anything new? No. Are there any other lanes to consider? Floating L? No good. A? No. R and O? No. So I have end note. Oh, this is pretty good because it provides access to 2 triple word squares. One of them will be mine. End note for 73. I draw the J. Wow. And I don't have the R or T for, well, the R for, well, row not good, but I was thinking of Raj and Taj. It would just be Taj and all the T's have gone, so. But I do have Jar and Jeet. Wow. Will that stay available? I lead by 12 points. And I also have Jar at the bottom. Do I have a play in column 14 down from this triple letter square? No, I don't think I do. But those are 2 pretty handy J spots, only 4 tiles in the bag. And look at this, there's a huge number of vowels out there. Which means there's a very good chance that I will draw a vowel. The danger of playing JA, keeping 5 consonants, is I have only consonants, but only 1 point tiles left. That limits opponent's scoring potential. And only his S, or only an S, can go in front of eat out of the unseen tiles. Wow. I've got a C for Mike. So, opponent plays off 2 vowels. I'm not too worried about that. I lead by 6 points, 2 tiles in the bag. So this empties the bag, but scores 60 points will take me to 431, a lead of about 70. Well, if opponent bingos, he wins. He wins because I am emptying the bag. Any bingo wins. Does he have a bingo? Let me think about this. And do I have a column 15 play, which gets my J doubled? I do. I do. Wow. Does this do a better job? And it's a bigger score, lower count back for opponent, should he bingo. And I'm taking out the U, which, well, I'm not sure if opponent does have a bingo through that, but this is overall a better play. I'm creating a new lane in row A, which is a bad thing for bingos ending in N. Does opponent have one? I'm looking at the tiles at the bottom. These are the 9 tiles. He's got 7 of them. Do any 7 of them create a bingo with this board? So, well, I'm possibly onto the L. Be heart-wrenching if he does have a bingo onto the N. I don't have to play this. I could play Jar. They're a very similar score. So it's all about whether opponent has got a bingo, and if I could see his potential bingos, I could block them because I'm far enough, well, I'm not far enough ahead to see the game out. The opponent must have scored well with something. There's only 6 points between us, so I think I have to play Unduja 463. And I draw a vowel, which is good. Actually, it's not good. I would have rather drawn a consonant and made opponent's rack even more vowel heavy. So is opponent going to bingo? I can now see what he's got. This rack plus an N. I don't think he's got one. This rack plus an L. No, he would need a T for soterial. And nothing else works. I lead by about 70. So, and I have crems. I have an out. I have crems. I think is good. May not be. In column 14. I have merches in row B. Do I have anything else? Well, that's all I need. I just need 2 outs. Or 3 if one of them isn't good. If crems isn't good, for example. But I don't need an out to win this game. I just need opponent not to bingo. Phew, I thought that was a bingo for a moment. So, opponent plays Erasure for 8. I lead by about 64 minutes on my clock. Where's the best spot for me? I have merches in row B, 12. I have crems here for 25, which may not be good, but that's a much bigger score. And it is good, and the game is over. And the final score, 373 for my opponent, 461 for me, a winning margin of 88 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Unbelievable. So close at the end. Very bingo-y tiles, but opponent just did not have a bingo. What's opponent saying? Could do nothing with the crap I had at the end. Well played. Fantastic. Always good to get messages like that. Now, it was me to go first. And I played Chin. That looks fine. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Pone. Now, this looked close to a bingo. None available. What do? I play Plap for 14, which is off the pace. At B10, Pelter and Par is providing a ton of floaters, and Plap isn't. So, although this is 7 points less, I think that's made up not so much from a score and rack lead perspective as simply from a board perspective and the opportunities available for opponent. And look at opponent's rack. He would have had many more options had I played something like Pelter. Opponent's rack, fantastic bingo, informed. And now I have a series of racks. I have the blank, but I have a series of non-bingo-y racks, and I struggle to deal with them. Key, that's nice. N6. Yeah, playing K and V. Yeah, what do? I play Geek for 19. Well, only 5 off the pace and keeping the E. So Geek is not terrible. Opponent's rack plays Quad. Now, another non-bingo-y rack. What do? I play Vega for 9. Okay, which gets rid of V and G and an E. So ETH blank is a really good rack leave. It is on this list here. But is EHT blank 12 points better than EGV blank? Well, my instinct is no, but EGV blank. Blank's worth about 25, E helps it, closest to 30. G leaves it neutral, V drags it back down to the low 20s, I would say. V and G particularly bad, but that's at least 20. What was the other rack leave? EHT blank. All of these tiles help the blank. So 25, 30, 33, 35. Yeah, I could say that this could be a 35-point rack leave. So there could be a 15-point difference in rack leaves and only a 12-point difference in score. I'm happy with Vega. Now, opponent's rack plays a Boral, which was a good spot. And wow, I played Goethite for 70, but 01 Athetoid available onto this D. Wow, 89 points. That would have been the bingo. H14 Thiotepa onto this A. Nice word. Toothia. Where's that? H13. Oh, onto the R. Okay, slightly more prosaic word there. And then Goethite, which was mine. Opponent's rack. No bingo, plays Vayli, and at this point, opponent leads by 50. And I've drawn the S, which is good, but a lot of high-scoring tiles. And I play BY to leave a really good 5-letter set. That doesn't appear on this list. So BY for 21, I sacrifice 15 points, N12, BAYE for 36. Well, BAYE, I don't like that in the sense that it's taking out bingo lanes. Without buy, the board pretty much has no bingo lanes, and I trail, so I don't like that from a board perspective. But even score and rack leave, I'm sacrificing 15 points of score. Do A and E add 15 points to CST? Well, possibly. I would say they add 10. Which is getting up towards the moves being comparable purely on a score and rack leave basis, and buy has the advantage of keeping a fabulous rack leave and creating a new bingo lane with a hook on my rack. Now, opponent's rack plays highly, and Caters, of course, that's the anagram of Karates, and would have scored more, and would have played next to the Y of Vayli. But nothing else available apart from those two. Fantastic rack for opponent, and he would have had a bingo regardless of where I played Karates, because if I played a Caters in column 12, he had the A for going in front of buy. He also has Masonite, M8, from this M, but plays Atonis here. And now, this isn't looking good because I trail by 30 points. I've got the X and the U, the board's tightening up, and I'm not seeing anywhere to play those. So I played Doubts, which doesn't appear on this list. All these rack leaves are horrendous, whereas my rack leave of Inga is really good. So I sacrificed 24 points, and I'm happy with that. I would have just got into so much trouble, I think, if I'd kept XU, nowhere for the X. The U's a bad tile. Still 2 of them to come. Whereas keeping Inga, I had a very strong prospect of bingoing. Opponent's rack plays Z, and I thought this is where luck was conspiring against me. And, well, luck and my opponent's skill, of course. I trailed by 90 points, and I don't have a bingo. So I play Wolf. I could have played Gwine, keeping RT. Probably should have done. Yeah, RT is a nice Rackley with all these vowels to come. Not many non-bingo tiles, and Gwine was a decent score. Now, luck comes to my rescue, having acted against me, because opponent plays 2e for 7, which gave me hope. And I play Frig for 34, and now I trail by only 50. Opponent's rack plays moi rather, and here we go. I have Enno for 73, and that is the only bingo, so delighted to spot that. And suddenly I lead by 12 points, and there are only 4 tiles in the bag. Opponent plays Vor, and here we go. I considered Jar, and I considered Ndujas. What I didn't consider was Jams, F1. Oh wow, Jams, nice. But the advantage of Ndujas is that it left fewer tiles, so it increased my chances of going out in 1. And although the U looks like a non-bingo-y tile, sometimes it's better just to take out bingo lanes rather than spending time convincing yourself there isn't a bingo, because sometimes you don't see one which actually is there. So I play Nduja. I could have stuck an S on the end. Interesting. Keeping just CM. Yeah, maybe. How useful was that S? I don't know. Now, opponent's rack. Great, no bingo here. Plays Evasion. And finally, I play Crems for 25. Crimes available through the Eye of Moi, and also Merches at B1, but Crems was best. So what a game. Absolutely enormous fun. I'm losing my voice. That was so close. And I felt it was ebbing away. I was drawing non-bingo-y racks with the W and the F at the end. Opponent was getting the Z down. And I felt I was 90 points behind and there was no way back. And then I had a really great sequence of moves where opponent plays 2e, I play Frig. Opponent has a ton of vowels, and I'm able to get Nduja down for a huge score and scrape over the line with actually quite a handsome winning margin. So absolute marvellous fun. Many thanks to opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.